Hey guys, Eternize here. In my last video, we discussed what specifically made hardstyle a loud genre. Now, in this video, we're gonna look at the best mixing techniques that actually result in louder music. So we're gonna look at three things today: saturation, multiband compression, and sidechain compression. Let's get into it. Now first, briefly, I want to talk about the function of saturation and why it helps create louder music. So saturation is a form of low-level distortion, and distortion seeks to completely flatten out the frequency response. So to demonstrate this, I have opened up a project with a stream of white noise, and with an EQ I've made a dip in the mid-frequencies. So without the EQ, the white noise is completely flat. And with the EQ, it appears like this with a dip in the mid-frequencies. Now look what happens to the frequency curve when I apply distortion. So the distortion almost completely reconstructed the aggressive dip in the white noise. And what it's filled out with is harmonics and noise from the distortion. Now again, saturation works the same way, just to a much lesser degree. So as you can imagine, any sound you feed into saturation, no matter if it has dips or peaks anywhere in the frequency curve, saturation will help smoothen it out. And that's what I love about saturation. You don't have to identify every imbalance in the sound to correct it. Saturation will automatically do that for you because it constantly looks for that flat frequency response. This, of course, in the case of neutral saturation. Saturation comes in many shapes. Some saturators are looking to create a more warm tone, some are neutral and some are more bright. A great example of when to use saturation is on anything synth related. Here I use it on a grouped low end to make sure that the low end sounds cohesive, and also try to limit the inconsistencies of the low end harmonics that fluctuate because of the detune in the sounds. Hey guys, real quick, I'm gonna ask for a small favor. I am fully committed to keep sharing my knowledge with you with these videos, and if you share my enthusiasm for hardstyle, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button and also comment down below so that the YouTube algorithm can get this out to the people with our shared interest. Thank you so much, and back to the video. Next, we're going to look at sidechain compression. And you may think that sidechain compression involves taking away sound, so how does it make anything sound louder? Let me explain why. Actually, let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed that whenever you create simple beats, it often comes out louder? Maybe you fooled around in your DAW or for fun created a beat in a different genre. Well, I have, and every time I do, it comes out surprisingly loud. And what this boils down to is that fewer sounds make it easier to go louder. Not simpler sounds, but fewer sounds. And this is where it ties into sidechain compression, because with sidechain compression, you have the opportunity to make fewer sounds active at the same time, right? So when one sound is playing, another is not, or at least to a lesser degree, right? Fewer sounds. I spoke about this in a previous video. I really do think that you should sidechain compress at every opportunity you have. The obvious scenario that we all know is to sidechain your reverb to your lead so that the reverb is ducking out of the way whenever the lead is active. But if that's the only place where you use sidechain compression, you are really missing out. Here's an example where I am sidechaining other elements out of the way whenever the lead is active. The last technique we're going to look at is multiband compression. Multiband compression has so many use cases, but to understand why it's great for loudness, we have to think back to the previous video where we discussed what makes any sound loud. Again, the things are frequency response, time, and dynamic range. Now, if we look at a multiband compressor, it literally manipulates all of these things in a single plugin. Let's take an example like the OTT. OTT seeks to maintain a constant frequency response, and it seeks to minimize both short and long-term dynamic range. The way it works is that for every band you set a target level. So for this band, if any sound goes higher than the target level, OTT will push it down towards the target. And if any sound is not loud enough to meet the target, OTT will push the sound up towards the target. So in technical terms, if the sound is louder, OTT uses downward compression to meet the target. And if the sound is not loud enough, it uses upwards compression to meet the target. So much like saturation, multiband compression can be used to flatten out the frequency curve and to manipulate dynamics. But instead of doing it by adding harmonics, it does it by adjusting volume levels in bands constantly. Essentially, it's a different way of achieving the same result. As with saturation, I like to use multiband compression on anything synth related. Here's an example of OTT bringing more energy into a lead without drastically changing levels or the frequency response. Guys, I'm almost done with a mixing ebook that's going to be available to you very soon. And techniques like the ones used in this video is going to be in it, but it's going to include so much more. And I really think it's going to be a helpful tool for producers out there that doesn't necessarily have 10 years plus of mixing experience. It's going to be free and I will give you more information about it soon. Alright guys, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.